Imagine a garden. Two people plant the exact same seeds. One plants in rich, fertile soil. The other plants in dry, rocky ground. Both water, both wait, both work, but only one sees fruit. The difference wasn't in the seeds, it was in the soil. And that's how business works too. You can have the best idea, the sharpest strategy, even the right mentors. But if your soul is depleted or toxic, the fruit won't come. The soil of your business is your soul. And if your inner world is unhealthy, no amount of hustle will change the outcome. 3 John 1:2 reminds us, Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers. Prosperity starts on the inside. Your business is only as sustainable as the health of your soul. Hi, I'm Raquel, your GPS for success. Let's get started. Breakthrough. Welcome back to One Breakthrough Now, where biblical wisdom meets neuroscience and practical business strategy. This is where success stops being just a dream and starts becoming your daily reality. Here's how each episode flows. In the first half, like what we're about to do now, I'll break down the principle for those of you who are just getting started. Maybe you've just left corporate, maybe you're testing the waters of entrepreneurship, and you're asking, where do I even begin? Then in the second half, I'll bring the fire for those already building. So I'll show you how to scale, multiply, and unlock the next level without losing alignment. So why stick with me for the whole thing? Because whether you're new or seasoned, the next principle is going to help all of you. So in part 1, this is what we're doing. We'll talk about why inner healing and mindset mastery aren't optional extras, but the foundation for your business. I'll give you practical tools for cultivating prosperous soil in your soul so your vision can actually grow roots. In the second part, we'll shift gears and talk to those scaling. How unhealed soul patterns create invisible ceilings. Why some entrepreneurs collapse under growth, and how to multiply without losing peace. Either way, today's breakthrough could be the turning point that you've been praying for. Soul first, strategy second. When you're new to business, your temptation is to rush. You want to figure out pricing, branding, and marketing. You want to do it as fast as possible. Why? Because you want the money to start flowing as proof that you've actually made the right decision by either leaving corporate, about to leave corporate, or pursuing that dream that God has put on your heart. But here's the truth, that if you skip over your soul prosperity, you're actually building your business on sand. Think back to the garden story that I just shared with you. You can plant seeds of strategy all day long. But if your inner soil is filled with weeds, fear, comparison, scarcity, those seeds, they're not going to survive. And if they do, they won't thrive. They will sprout, but then they're going to wither. And what is the then consequence of that? You end up feeling exhausted, and then you're wondering if you heard God at all. That's why your first responsibility as CEO is not to build websites. It's not to build your funnels. It's cultivating your soul. The neuroscience of soul prosperity. Now, neuroscience gives us some language around this. The brain is neuroplastic. It can rewire itself based on what you are repeatedly thinking, feeling, and focusing on. But here's the catch. If you are carrying trauma, limiting beliefs, chronic stress in your new business, your brain will faithfully, because it is your servant, reproduce those patterns in your new environment or in the environment that you're trying to create. And that's why sometimes people leave a toxic job environment to create their new thing, their own thing, and they're finding that it's very much the same because now they have that stress. As an entrepreneur, the scenery changed, but the soul did not. Here's the good news. Just like the soil can be renewed with water, with nutrients, with care, your brain gets renewed with truth, practice, and God's word. So prosperity, it's not fixed. It can grow. So here are the 3 signs that your soul needs cultivation. Number 1, constant overwhelm. You feel like everything is urgent and clarity is rare. That's the rocky soil. Ideas can't seem to take root. Number two, emotional whiplash. Your confidence rises and falls with likes, clients, or cash flow. And that's shallow soil. Growth springs up quickly, but it withers under pressure. Last one, fear-driven decisions. You choose based on avoiding pain instead of pursuing vision. That's thorny soil. Fear chokes out your purpose. And if you're seeing yourself in any of these, take heart. Awareness is grace. It is your grace point. It is not condemnation. God is exposing the weeds so that way you can pull them out. He doesn't want you to quit. It was his idea to begin with. How to cultivate prosperous soil, some practical tools for beginners. Like I said, the first thing is you need to pull the weeds. So identify and uproot limiting beliefs. For example, maybe you've been telling yourself that I'll never make more than I did in corporate. You can replace that with God's truth. God gives me power to create wealth without sorrow. Secondly, you want to enrich the soil. Feed your soul daily, worship, scripture, empowering declarations, uplifting conversations. Neuroplasticity thrives on repetition. It does it anyway. Your brain will grow what you feed it. Thirdly, water consistently. Take small, faithful actions. Post the offer. Tell a friend about your service. Send the email. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Water the ground that you have. And lastly, and probably the most important thing, because I forget to do this one too. And when my body, the last few days when I'm recording this, decided it didn't want to do anything and kept in some ways shutting me down, is because I didn't realize that I was actually in burnout. Rest the ground. Rest is not laziness, it's strategy. Rest is when roots grow deep. Build rhythms of prayer, of Sabbath, and silence so your soul has space to prosper. Then when I first stepped out of corporate, I thought that the right strategy was going to fix everything. And then God started to show me that the real ceiling in my business was not the strategies, it was actually a soul issue. I had to confront the lies that I was believing. I love this quote by Lance Walnut. He said a long time ago, I heard him say this, that if it's the truth that sets you free, it's a lie that keeps you captive. And it was a lie. There were lies that I was believing that was keeping me captive. I had to truly retrain my brain, and I'm not 100% on this yet. That God is really my source, not the paycheck, not my clients. I wasn't going to, when I shouldn't be creating the offers to get money, saying, okay, this is my goal. I want to make $10,000. So what is it that I can offer in order for me to make the $10,000? Does that strategy work? Yes, because it all works. But when you do things outside of how God actually creates things for us to prosper, again, there's going to be sorrow and or toil, painful toil, or both attached to it. And so when I was creating the offers based on my goals, my financial goals, sometimes I hit them and sometimes I didn't. But I was really making the sale mechanism my source and not God. I wasn't slowing down enough to hear what is the offer you want me to offer? What is the price that you want me to offer this to? Which is a completely different thing because it looks the same, but the intention, the motivation, the initiation of it is different. And so if I'm getting the download from heaven, what the offer is, what the price is, how many seats are supposed to be there, then I'm not really responsible in some ways to carry that out. It is the Father in me that does the work. I need to be aligned and in tune with him so that way Holy Spirit can just work in and through me. And then I get a lot done. And there's just this ease and flow. He is the one who called me. So he is the one who is to sustain me and to help me to thrive in this. But it's a lesson that I keep on learning because every time I hit something, right, then he peels another layer off. We're always moving from glory to glory. So if you don't get it all right, the first time, the first year, the second year, the third year, the fourth year, it's fine because God meets us where we're at and he just continues to help us because that's what he does. So as my soul started to prosper around the truth, opportunities then began to flow. Because I am a massive doer, it's still, I mean, I've had decades of this. Now, there are points where God would just deliver you in a second, and that is mercy and grace. And there's something about his timing that he wants it sped up. Sometimes you take a longer road, and I think I've been put through the longer road in order for me to help you and to encourage you in this too. But it's really coming to the truth that God is truly my source. And if I'm saying that, then I better act like it. I actually wrote a song about that as well. Am I perfect? No, but I do give myself grace because I know that God is working all things out for my good because I love him and I'm called according to his purpose. His purpose, not mine. So what is a takeaway for the new entrepreneurs or the newish entrepreneurs before you start to scale? If you're just starting out, then I want you to remember this. Don't start with money, start with mission. Don't chase the details. Seek first the kingdom, which we went into depth in episode 1. Don't train your brain on fear. Train it on God's abundance. Your soul is the soil for your business. Prosper the soil and the fruit will follow. It's not a matter of if, it's when. God gave us a perfect equation. You shall prosper and be in health as your soul prospers, which is your mind, will, and emotions. We have to renew what? Our mind every single day. Because every day, information is coming in thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of bits through our eyes and our ear gate. And if we are not renewing our mind every single day, every day, it is very easy for us to start slipping back until we make it a lifestyle change. And even then, we still have to do it. It's just like eating in a way that it's good for your body, what your body needs. If you slip back and start eating the things that didn't make you feel good, it's not like it's going to happen overnight, but eventually you will not feel good again. It is the same thing. Now, for those of you who already have traction, right? You have your clients. You might even have a team. You've built your offers. You might be realizing that your soil is depleted. Your growth, it is happening, but it's draining you. You're producing fruit, but it feels like the branches are just breaking off. And that's what we're going to talk about in the other half of this segment. How to multiply from overflow instead of hustle. How to break the invisible ceilings. How to scale without sabotaging your health. So stay with me because what we're about to unpack could be the key to carrying that abundance without crumbling under it. See you on the other side of this very short break.
Thank you for watching Prospera TV Network. We hope you're enjoying the show. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
We're saying yes to the whisper, yes to the light, stepping out of the shadows into the fight. Every word, every breath, a spark to ignite. We're saying yes to the whisper, shining so bright. It's the voice of hope, it's the call to rise, a sacred promise, no more disguise. Together we speak, our stories align, each whisper a flame, a radiant sign. Yes to the whisper, yes to the call. We stand together, we rise, we stand tall. Every word we release, we set hearts free. Saying yes to the whisper, that's who we choose to be.
Welcome back. And if part one gave you the foundation, part two is where we bring some fire. Because once you set the kingdom first and now you're cultivating the soil, question now is, how do I multiply this without losing alignment? There are a lot of entrepreneurs, they scale fast and then they collapse just as quickly. Their outer success outruns their inner capacity. But when your soul prospers first, growth becomes sustainable. It multiplies without draining you. Let's get back to the word. 3 John 1:2 doesn't just say, I pray that you prosper. It says, as your soul prospers. It is a perfect equation. It's like equal, right? Everything God does is in divine order. It's letting you know that you cannot bypass your soul. If you want overflow, you need to expand your inner container before God pours more in. Can you pour more in yourself? Yes. But that's why you get exhausted, frustrated. It's not sustainable. And things just start falling apart. Jesus reminded us that we can't pour in new wine in old wineskin. In this context, the wineskin is going to be your soul, your mindset, your emotional regulation, your willing. If it's brittle, it will burst under pressure. If it's renewed, it will expand and carry more. So let's talk about neuroscience and scaling. From a neuroscience perspective, this is why it matters. Neuroplasticity means your brain is always rewiring. But under stress, your brain defaults to old pathways. So if fear, scarcity, or control have been your defaults, those patterns will resurface the moment you try to scale. Just like I was sharing the story earlier of like, I'm still learning about handing things over to God. What's in you under pressure, what you really believe deep down that you're not maybe recognizing, will surface. Again, those will be triggers. You'll get awareness. It's just grace. God wants you free, which is why he allows those triggers to happen. Here's another point. Your nervous system capacity. Growth brings more emails, more clients, more decisions. And if your nervous system isn't trained to hold that load, you're going to unconsciously sabotage it in order to bring yourself back to normal. Your brain will hijack your nervous system. It'll hijack your body. It did it to me the last few days. That's what I'm telling you. I am not immune from this message. Your brain likes homeostasis. It will try to bring you back to that. Lastly, is emotional contagion. Research shows that your team mirrors your state. So if you're anxious, they're going to feel anxious. If your soul prospers, your leadership transmits peace and clarity. And that's why when you're scaling without having the soul prosperity, it feels like you're pushing this boulder up a hill. Can you do it? Yes, but it's exhausting. But when the soul is prospering, it feels like you're stepping into flow. Here are some signs that you're hitting a soul seeding. Firstly, constant chaos. Your systems can't hold the growth. You feel like you're always putting out fires. Exhaustion despite success. Clients are coming in, money is flowing, but you're drained instead of energized. Lastly, good but misaligned opportunities. You start saying yes to the things that make money, but dilute your mission. And as the saying goes, not all money is good money. Each of these things is a signal. It's not a signal that you're failing. It's actually a signal that your soul wants to expand. Here are 3 strategies to scale with a prosperous soul. Number 1, we talked about this before, audit your offers. Not everything that makes money multiplies purpose. And some offers are weeds in disguise. They look good, they sell well, but they choke your energy. So ask yourself, is this aligned with my assignments or just padding my revenue? The next one is something that we talked about before, which is evaluate partnerships. Partnerships built on shared vision multiply impact. Partnerships built on transactions, they will eventually drain it. Now look closely. Are you linked with people who carry your values, or are they just exchanging resources with you? Lastly, design for overflow. your systems, right? Your automation, your communication, your delegation, especially your delegation. For all of us who like to do everything ourselves and believe the lie, if something's going to be done well, I guess I have to do it myself. That's not true, right? All are of these things, they're just like a trellis in a vineyard. So without them, right? What happens without the trellis, without that perimeter? What happens? Fruit grows, right? It does grow, but it'll be wild and it'll break off the branches. But when you put these things in place, right, the fruit multiplies. Build the systems that support overflow, not just survival. When this is being recorded, I'm working with 20 at the moment, 22 amazing authors for this anthology that's coming out November 11th. And a lot of them just like, oh, this is great. God's been telling me to share my story. So that's the reason they said yes. But because they said yes and they started to align themselves with this kingdom first principle that I talked about in episode 1, right? Then everything else started to open up for them. Many of them, they started to get more on podcasts. They had more business opportunities. Their money started to multiple. Unexpected partnerships started to happen. They're not striving. They're not hustling harder. Their soul was aligning with what God wanted for them. And then God was able to multiply it because they were already in this openness of receiving. And the same is true with my own journey in the songwriting. I can have a 15-minute conversation with somebody and have a full song out and distributed in less than 5 business days. And now the message, right, whether it's for a book or for an event or for a nonprofit, whatever it is, gets sent out and people can access it from all over the world. Their mission is now multiplied. Their impact is now multiplied because their message is sent to music. That's overflow. And that's what happens when you scale from a prosperous soul. And here are some practical soul practices for scaling leaders. Upgrade your vision practices. Don't just revisit your why, embody it. You can use audio declarations, prayer walks, or journaling prompts that are going to help you to rehearse and the overflow, not just survival. And for me, that's why I didn't tie my why to my family. A lot of people do that, right? Because of my kids, because of my family, what I want to do for them, and the legacy. Those are all very noble things. But this is what happened to me when I did that. When I did that, I inadvertently made that an idol. Even when I was with my children, I wasn't present because I was making decisions based on the good thing, which was to take care of my family. That was my why. Take care, making sure that everything's provided for. And that became my why instead of I want to do my Father's will, and that is my reward. Now, if that is your why, your family, or something like that, this is not condemnation, it's awareness. It's a warning that even the good thing can pull you away from the truth. We have to really examine our motivations and be so mindful to not put anything in front of God. Be mindful on the path, because when you take God out of his space of being God and accidentally, inadvertently put something else in there, that thing, it's empty. It can't bring you life. It'll feel good in moments, but it will open the door to you for things that you just really don't have to go through when you put, right, in principle 1, putting the kingdom first. My next point, strengthen your nervous system. Practice slowing down before meetings, breathing deeply before calls, praying before your decisions. These tiny acts train your body to hold more without breaking. And lastly, cut misaligned commitments. Good things can still be distractions. You need to decide to prune ruthlessly so your soul has room to grow. In this season, I'm focused on the message. The message is the message. Words matter because they become matter, right? And the words become matter. They become things. They become mental real estate. They become neural pathways. They eventually get materialized outside of ourselves. And so everything I do is through that lens. Words matter because they become matter. And if it's not part of that message that God has given me, then the answer is no. Or no, thank you. Or not at this time. Divine order for multiplication. Remember that multiplication always follows order. Jesus blessed the loaves and then he broke them. Then as it went out, it multiplied in the distribution. Blessing and breaking come before the multiplication and overflow. Now the breaking is like, oh, something has to break. Mostly what has to break is our own way of doing things. And that's really most of it. Just do it the way he said, because the same is true for you. When you bless what you have and you break away from the things that are distracting you from it, those things that don't belong, then multiplication can happen. And it'll happen without you toiling for it. Yes, the money comes. But for us at this point, it's about impact and legacy. We want to reach those that God has already ordained for us to reach and to serve. Are you speaking blessings over your business, or are you complaining? Because we're told that God inhabits the praises of his people. And if God is inhabiting the praises, what is inhabiting your complaints? So you have a choice. You can either white knuckle your way into what you want, or you can rewire your reality using the soul prosperity method that God has given us, because you will prosper and be in health as your soul prospers. It is a perfect equation. If you want to take these principles deeper, then I invite you to come into the Rewire Reality School Group. We combine biblical truth, neuroscience, and emotional regulation. So that way you're not just hearing the word, but you actually live it out. Inside, you're going to find micro coaching practices to retrain your brain, things that you can do to prosper your soul daily, a community of people walking this out together. Plus, you get to chill out with me, and we get to rewire reality together once a month. And if you're listening today and recognizing this is what I need, I don't need just strategy. I need to rewire my soul so I can sustain the things that God is giving me. Then join us. Rewire Reality is going to give you the tools and the support so you can multiply without burning out. And currently, it is a one-time payment. So I would get in here if I was you before it starts becoming monthly. So you'll be locked in. No more payments, just the one. Here's the big picture for you. If you're new, prosper your soul first. It doesn't mean you're not doing some of the other things, but have that as a priority so that you're building the right foundation. Keeping the kingdom first, principle 1 that we talked about in episode 1, prospering your soul. And for those who are about to scale, prosper your soul before you start to scale, right? Focus on that again, right? It's the same principle. We still have to focus first on the kingdom first, and then prosper our soul. And then from that, the things will be easier. Not easy, but easier. When your soul prospers, everything else aligns. And this is just the beginning, because next week we're stepping into episode 3, Rewired for Innovation. This is where I love to live. When your inner dialogue starts to align with God's truth, creativity and innovation flow. That kind of spirit-led innovation, it doesn't just solve problems. It actually unlocks solutions that the world has not seen yet. So stay with me. Because if you've ever felt stuck in the old loops or you really want to tap into new levels of creativity, episode 3 is going to break that wide open. Until then, may God's richest and best be yours. Bye for now.
Breakthrough. This is your Prosperous era, where dreams align with grace, abundance flows like rivers. You've stepped into your place. Rise, reign, and remember, you were born to shine. Welcome to your moment, Prospera, it's time.
We hope you enjoyed today's show on Prospera TV Network. Make it a point to visit us on YouTube and catch all your favorite shows anytime you want. Interested in hosting a show of your own? Or advertising your business on our network? Contact Elena Rodriguez,